Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Susan Eden, member of our Board of Trustees, and I'd like to welcome you today to our Sunday service this morning at the UU Church of Columbia. We are a congregation striving to invite courageous love, radical welcome, and deep connection. And we are so glad you are all here, bringing all that you have and are and love and your deepest commitments to a more just world for all. Welcome. We are glad to be offering a live stream of our services, and we would like to extend an additional welcome to those of you joining online. We strive to make our worship accessible, and those of you at home or using screen readers in person can find an accessible order of service at our homepage, uucomo.org, and we'll be providing spoken descriptions of any videos or images that we project. If you're on Zoom, we also have automated captioning turned on, and we'd love for you to connect if you have any other access needs that we can meet at minister@uu.org, uucomo.org. For those of you with us in person, we invite you to attend carefully to the stage table hall by being courteous space, wearing your masks, and ensuring that you are greeting one another in a way that is comfortable to both parties. We'd like to particularly welcome any visitors among us this morning and invite you to find our guest book after the service in the entry if you didn't already, or in the chat if you're with us online. We'd love to stay in touch with you about our goings on. Children and babies are always welcome in worship, and we have a lively children's religious education program and nursery care for our students. All nursery caregivers and RE teachers are masked and vaccinated. This week, we are worshiping together as one multi-generational community. Childcare is available in the nursery for those who need or prefer it, and our regular Sunday school classes resume next week. If you have a joy or a sorrow you'd like spoken aloud during the service, you can write them on the yellow slip over here, or to be included at the time of the prayer. Or if you're online, please include your joys and sorrows in the chat so that they can be relayed to our worship leaders for our time of prayer. Now let's take a deep breath, sink into the present moment, and settle in with the help of our musicians.
And I just want to note quickly for our online viewers, because of our tech difficulties today, our sound may not be as good as it is when we have our normal setup, but we are doing our best with it, and we hope that you can hear, and we will be working on it for next week. Thank you.
Well, here's our little season choir. As you can tell, we could use more singers, so if you would like to sing or if you're thinking about joining, we would love to have you, whether you're at home or if you're here. We're going to sing Garden Song, Peter Paul and Mary version, if you'd like to sing along today.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of road. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless the seeds I sow. Someone want them from below till the rain comes falling down. Green leaves and picking stones, we are made of dreams and hopes. Feel the need to grow my own, just the time is so sad. For rain, sun and rain, burn away in nature's chain. To my body and my brain, to the music from the land. Your rose, straight and long, thicker than with breath and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Scottish, Ohio, some place this summer. Someone from you to the rain comes coming down. In Scottish, Ohio, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rain and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. In Scottish, Ohio, some place this seeds are sown. Someone from you to the rain comes coming down.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Molly House-Gordon. We have received feedback from our blind member that in addition to providing spoken descriptions of videos and images on screen, it's helpful to provide image descriptions of ourselves as we speak. So I am a white woman with long red hair wearing a dark teal shirt with a scalloped neckline, and I'm standing here in the pulpit for our opening words by Langston Hughes. It's an earth song, and I've been waiting long for an earth song. It's a spring song, and I've been waiting long for a spring song. Strong as the shoots of a new plant, strong as the bursting of new buds, strong as the coming of the first child from its mother's womb. It's an earth song, a body song, a spring song, and I've been waiting long for a spring song. And let us sing a spring song. We're going to continue in our folk genre this morning with our first hymn, which is Morning Has Broken. It's number 38 in your gray hymnal. I invite you to make sure your masks are snugly covering nose and mouth as we sing together. I invite you to rise or remain seated as you are most comfortable. To sing together hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Morning has broken like the first morning, and good has spoken like the first word. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word. Like the first dew fall on the first grass, praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, song in completeness where God's mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one mighty and sovereign. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Good morning. My name is Sam Otten, and I'm a white man of moderate height and build. I'm wearing a purple button-up shirt, and I have no glasses and basically no hair, and I'm fine with that. We now light our chalice, the symbol of our faith in the community that holds us, and the bright flame of the human spirit that unites us. Will you join me in our weekly words of affirmation, which are printed in our order of service? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law.
This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We will now share a moment to center ourselves in the beautiful blooming forth of spring. This morning's centering is a video meditation of a 25-day time-lapse of a bean seed germinating and growing. It shows the bean breaking open and roots webbing out beneath. Then it shows the bean sprouting, pushing up through the soil, growing tall and leafing out, while appearing to dance around as it bends and grows. It is accompanied by a familiar orchestral tune by Richard Strauss.
The mic is coming from here, so.
Okay. I'm going to move it so it's not covering my face for the video people. Oh, hello, everyone. What a day technologically. Hello, if you've just tuned in online, you may be wondering what the heck is going on. This doesn't look like usual. We've had some tech troubles at the church this morning with the computer going belly up, so we are making do with some alternate methods. I did post the link to that video in the chat for our online audience because it was probably really hard for you to see. So I hope you'll watch it a little bit later on. And I want to thank Ben Zweig for being our impromptu videographer today. Stepping in to save the day, or at least the live stream. So I wanted to just have a brief moment of reflection about this beautiful video and wonder with you, and I particularly invite children to speak up, but anyone can speak up as well. How did you feel as you watched that video of the bean taking root and growing up through the soil? Anybody? It felt like it was dancing, yes.
It knows what to do.
That bean knows what to do, absolutely.
There was a lot happening underground.
There was a lot happening underground.
It seemed like the roots took longer to get long than the plant tall, so it took longer for the roots to get established.
Yeah, so the bean really took its time with the roots. It took even longer building out that support structure than it did growing up tall.
It was dancing, it was growing.
It was dancing as it was growing.
It had to do some unusual movements to kind of get itself going.
It had to do a little twitching to get going at the start. We're hearing, of course, all the metaphors for our lives, right? Any other things that you learned about growth through watching the seed, Pat?
It was looking for the string to tie onto.
It was.
And it wasn't finding it. I was getting anxious for it.
Yeah, the bean was looking for something to wind itself around. That's part of why they grow that way. Anything else that you learned from the bean this morning? Well, I had a few more observations. One is that growing starts with what's already inside us. Kind of like what Adam said about the bean knew what to do. Everything that bean became came from what was already curled up inside that tiny seed, as well as all of the influences of the earth and the water and the sun. Tonette observes online that even though we start small, we can grow big, just through what we already have inside of us. But growing is not only done with what's inside of us. That's not sufficient, is it? We need the earth. We need all of the messages we receive from the air around us, all of the nutrients from the sun and the water. We probably need all of the other plants and their root systems to help keep us strong as well, although we didn't see that on the video. Another thing I noticed is that bean seed, when it started to grow its roots and when it started to push up, it had to break open. Like, it was kind of dramatic, the cracking open, everything kind of coming forth. And I think there's a lesson for our growth in that as well. Maybe it's frightening. Maybe it hurts. It requires an opening that can feel vulnerable. And lastly, we noted that the bean was reaching out and down, even as it was also reaching up at the same time. And perhaps there's a lesson for us about all of the different directions that we grow at once, that we need to grow down and out and up and leaf, and that we need to turn our faces toward where the most nourishment is arriving for us. And maybe that's a joyful dance. So I hope that you will take these lessons from the seed and even more, and carry them into this spring blossoming time as we have reached the end of a long winter that we have endured underground, and as we prepare to break open and bloom forth. Violet's going to perform a beautiful seed song for us, and we'll continue working with our seed lessons for the rest of the service.
This is a song that was written by a dear friend of mine named Steph Plant. She's a Montessori teacher and performer, singer-songwriter from St. Louis. It's called Little Baby Seed.
Little baby seed, sleeping underground, waiting, waiting, waiting for the sun. Little baby seed, sleeping safe and sound, waiting, waiting, waiting for the rain to come. You'll be just fine when you get rain, rain and sunshine. Little baby seed, germinating now, growing, growing, growing towards the sun. Little roots are reaching, you're a seedling now, growing, 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 'cause the rain did come. You'll be just fine when you get rain, rain and sunshine. Little baby seed, not so little now, happy, happy, happy in the sun. You're a pretty flower, swaying in the breeze, happy, happy, happy when the rain did come. You'll be just fine when you get rain, rain and sunshine. You'll be just fine when you get rain, rain and sunshine.
I would like to mention too, if you enjoyed that song, it is available on all streaming platforms along with her whole kids album. And if you're looking for a great kids album, I highly recommend it.
And it's perfect for Steph Plant to have written a song called Baby Seed. Just, it's meant to be, so. Now, during a time of contemplative music, I invite you into our weekly ritual of stones and water. For those of you tuning in at home, I'd like to invite you into a moment of quiet contemplation, imagining the burdens of your heart lifted and held by our community as you listen to the music. For those of you with us in the room, you are welcome to come forward and take a stone representing any of the hopes and fears that you bring with you this morning, and drop the stone in the water, which represents the embrace of our community. Those of you who wish to can have your joy or sorrow spoken aloud later in the service, and you can write it on a yellow slip of paper there at the table. We also will receive joys and sorrows that are submitted online in the chat. So I now invite you into this time of contemplation.
As we now prepare to share out loud the joys and sorrows and prayers of our community, I invite you to take a moment of silence to prepare your hearts to hold one another tenderly. For those of you online, I have my laptop right here and can easily read your joys and sorrows from the chat if you would like to post them there now. For those of you in the room and online, we have an embodied response that we invite to our joys and sorrows if you wish. The response for a joy or celebration is spirit fingers. The response for a sorrow or concern or prayer is one or both hands over your heart. Let us join our hearts in celebration with Erin J., who shares, I came out to my younger sister and we held and affirmed each other. Bright blessings. We join our heart with Tanette, who shares prayers for a friend whose cancer is so advanced that doctors cannot tell how much time she has. We also join with Tonette in sharing prayers for safe travel for son's friend returning to Colombia, and prayers for those in the Ukraine facing so much devastation. We join our hearts with Dottie, who shares care for a longtime friend Percy and his family. Percy died a short while ago, and his ashes are being spread near his desert home in upcoming days. We join our hearts with Christine sharing joy that her dad came home from the hospital and is doing very well. And she shares thanks for everyone's support. We join our hearts with Jim, who shares joy for grandson Zach returning to his studies. We join our hearts with the workers of Daniel Boone Regional Library, who are working on creating a union, and we'll be gathering here to work on that together this evening using our facility. We welcome them and hold them in heart. And we conclude this time of contemplation with the words of Alex Klingenberg. Spirit of life, of earth and sea and sky, place of deep longing in our hearts. Find your way from silence to voice. Give us strength and courage to speak truth throughout our lives. For we are creatures of the universe, small but infinite. Momentary bodies in the sea of life and also the sea itself. Tiny seeds and also the soil and sun. We are gathered bits of energy and those who gather, creations and creators. Let us not hold too tightly to one form and lose the other, for we are not form but process, ever changing, ever growing, ever renewing. Help us see that we are neither the beginning nor the end, but something perfectly natural and imperfectly divine. Amen. And will you now join me in singing hymn number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open. I know that we're still getting used to the joy of singing together, but we're going to jump right in because this one is around. So we're going to sing it through once together and then twice through and around. I was thinking about 4 parts, but we'll go with 2 as we get used to this again. And I'm going to help you come in, but if you're in this side of the room over here on the west side of the room, you're going to come in first. The east side of the room is going to come in second after the west side sings the first line. I'll cue you, don't worry. If you're at home, lucky you, you can do whatever you do. So here we go. I know this rose will open once together, twice in a two-part round. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. West side. I know this rose will open. Keep it strong. I know this rose will open. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know my soul will open its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open its wings. I know this rose will open. That was beautiful. Thank you. You can be seated if you rose. And I'd like to invite you now into a seed meditation. And I'm going to invite you to engage your bodies in this meditation, either by coming up front. If kids or others want to, you can take this big hunk of space right here where there's no chairs, or by moving in your chairs if you want to stay in your chairs, or by simply rooting in your body and imagining a metaphorical seed somewhere within you. Thank you for making a garden for us right there. And so I'm going to invite you to start as a seed in our garden, or find the seed inside you. All winter long, a hope, a dream, an intention, something new has been gathering inside you. Curled up tight and safe, this something new has built in strength and begun to stir. You see our children curled up tight and safe. I see a few of our adults curled up a bit at least. Feel what it is to have so much potential gathered in one spot. Feel how the possibility inside your seed begins to stir, perhaps move a bit, still curled up tight. Notice how you are receiving what you need even deep underground. Vitamins in the soil, water soaking down to quench your thirst. And now some message comes to you from the soil or the water or the wisdom of the earth that the time has arrived to do something difficult. It is time for all that is curled up safe and tight to break open. Feel what it is to open from the center, to let your precious possibility into the world. Does the soil feel harsh or gentle on that tender newness? Do our little seeds feel excited or scared or both or something else? Does your body or your seed inside resist opening? There's no need to force. Maybe your seed needs to keep resting a while to gather strength. That's okay too, to stay curled up tight and safe for another season. But for those seeds that have opened, these dreams and hopes and something new need roots. It's time to send out your roots into the ground. Feel how you are supported by the ground. Feel the strength of all these root systems growing all around you, the connection you find in the roots of all these seeds. Your hope does not grow alone. Notice how much stronger you feel when you take the time to root down, when you hold your dream with tender patience and go slowly. And now comes another hard part. To grow up into the sun and air, you must push through the earth. Growth does not happen without effort. But you need not choose the hardest path up. Feel around you for where the soil is soft and push there. Feel this new thing rising up from its strong roots, pushing into the sunlight and wind and rain. What does it feel like that moment your new thing reaches the air and sun? Joy, shock, terror, everything at once. Your dream, your new thing is out in the world now. Give it some love. Feel your way toward what you need, because your sprouting hope dances as it follows the sun, reaches out for the particles it needs to grow over here, over there, and the dancing looks like joy. Rejoice in the world that sends you just what you need to be nourished. And if your sprout can't find everything it needs, if the conditions are not right, it can return to the soil for now. It can curl up again and gather something a little different, something for another time. That's okay. That's right too. Take a moment now to breathe, to feel your strong roots below you, to feel the good sun and air and rain above you, to feel this something new growing in the world. And whatever that something new is for you, may it be nurtured and may it grow, and may it be so. And Violet is going to take us through these growing movements one more time with a song. And we invite those who did want to come forward to dance to stay up for a minute for these movements. And if you want to find a spot where you can move, you're welcome to do that wherever you are. Or you can improvise from your seat or do whatever feels good.
All right, we're going to start as a little baby seed. So let's get nice and small. Get ready to get planted into the ground. And this is the way we sprout our roots, sprout our roots, sprout our roots. This is the way we sprout our roots when springtime is here. And this is the way we pop through the dirt, pop through the dirt, pop through the dirt. This is the way we pop through the dirt when springtime is here. This is the way we stretch and grow, stretch and grow, stretch and grow. This is the way we stretch and grow when springtime is here. This is the way we open our buds, open our buds, open our buds. This is the way we open our buds when springtime is here. This is the way we smile at the sun, smile at the sun, smile at the sun. This is the way we smile at the sun when springtime is here. And this is the way we get picked from the dirt, picked from the dirt. This is the way we get picked from the dirt when springtime is here. This is the way we sit on the vase, sit in the vase, sit in the vase. This is the way we sit on the vase when springtime is here. This is the way we wilt in the vase,
we now invite you into a moment of reflection to ponder what seeds are currently stirring in your heart or your life. What is something you want to grow in the coming season? Perhaps it is literal, perhaps it is metaphorical. Perhaps it is something very simple or small, or perhaps it is something very large and complex. Whatever it is, we know that it will take breaking open, rooting down, reaching up, and finding nourishment in order to grow. Molly is passing around seed paper in the shape of a heart for you to write or draw your intentions for growth. We invite you to take the paper home with you and plant it somewhere where you can watch wildflowers grow alongside your intentions. If you are with us online, please fill out your name and address in the form we'll put in the chat, and we'll mail you the seed paper. For now, you can write your intention on regular paper and transfer it to the seed paper when it arrives. These papers come from Washington and contain a variety of wildflower seeds, some of which will thrive in any region of the U.S. They will tolerate partial shade and grow to about 3 feet. So what seeds are stirring in your heart? We'll now record them on our seed paper as we hear another song from the choir.
Seeds are stirring, stirring, stirring. Life is growing, growing, growing. Earth is turning, turning, turning. Hope is waking from her sleep. Hope is waking from her sleep. Hope is waking, waking, waking. Earth is breathing, breathing, breathing. Seeds are dreaming, dreaming, dreaming. Life is moving the earth. Life is moving the earth. Life is moving, moving, moving. Dreams are dancing, dancing, dancing. Hope is singing, singing, singing. Seeds are stirring the earth. 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 Seeds are stirring in the earth.
We're now going to share a song that was written by John Kramer, who serves in Winchester, Massachusetts. It was a winner in 2014 of the Silliman Unitarian New Hymn Contest. So this is a new hymn for us. It should be on a piece of yellow music inside your order of service. This is what's called a zipper song, in that it's going to be a seed of hope we're going to sing through, and then we're just going to substitute in some other words, joy and peace, and if Violet decides to do more, we'll follow Violet. So I invite you to rise or remain seated as you're most comfortable. Keep those masks firm and secure, and sing together.
Hope in my soul, gonna take it and make it, and God's love will be so great. It must be good to move in my soul. There's a seed of joy in my soul, a little seed of joy in my soul. Gotta take it every day. Peace
is the time in our service when we share all that helps nurture all that can grow. And part of how we do that is by taking an offering each Sunday, by nurturing with our collective resources the growth that we want to see happen in our community and beyond. And regularly we take that offering as a Faith to Action collection, which sends those resources out into all the beauty that is growing in our community more widely. And this morning, we are very literally going to be supporting the growth of seeds with an offering for the Columbia Center for Urban Agriculture. And Adam Saunders is here from CCUA to tell us more about what they're up to. Adam, it's going to be a little weird. You're going to leave this computer here so they can hear you and
All good.
do your thing. All right.
Thank you, Molly. And thanks, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to share today and appreciate the generosity of this community over the years. This is the 10th year that we've done our row sponsorship program that supports planting for the pantry, all the food we donate to the food pantry, our kids' education, our home garden mentoring, our volunteering. We have a lot now. We've come a long way. For those of you who've been tracking the progress of the Center for Urban Agriculture, it started as an all-volunteer group back in 2008, 2009. A lot of familiar faces and supporters of this from the very beginning, so I just so grateful for your all's support and belief in food, right? Raise your hand if you eat food. Okay, that's everybody. Raise your hand if you like good food. Okay, right. Yeah, I think that's kind of been the root of that's carried us along. So we're handing out an annual report that from last year. So this is kind of the most concise dump truck of information that we've ever made. And this is when you sponsor a row, it supports all this work. Last year we donated 38,000 pounds of produce to the food pantry. It was volunteered at the food pantry. There's a lot of need in our community, about 10,000 families that use that pantry every month to get access to food and to get more fruits and vegetables in that part of the social safety net is important for everybody's health. And it's a big part of what we do. We do Opportunity Gardens. It's a home garden mentoring program that's free of charge for families living with low income. So we go to people's houses and do 3 years of home garden mentoring. As you know, we've moved our headquarters next to the Ark and the new farmers market there. The Ag Park is what we call that. And so if you see on our list here, the Veterans Urban Farm, our original site that's now in year 13 is now the Veterans Urban Farm. We partner with the VA hospital. Our plants program is we work with kids. We do a farm-to-school collaboration, public schools, but also a wide range of activities through the year to get kids excited about food. They can't learn all the things, but if they learn that they like it, they have that environmental epiphany, like, I do like being outside. I do see the magic of this. That triggers it, hopefully a lifelong passion. Our home garden pro services. Garden therapy is new this year. We partner with Phoenix Health and their addiction recovery program to have gardening therapy as part of that process to help people. And also new this year is our produce prescription program. We partner with Compass Health Clinic on Worley. And so families with diet-related diseases can get prescribed fruits and vegetables from the farmer's market and access to cooking classes and gardening classes. That gets to some of the system change that we need to see about our healthcare system to get more fruits and vegetables to be out in front of health-related diseases. We eat every day, right? And that what we put in our body can either fuel us with good energy or it can cause problems for us long term. So we need it. That's a really good systems component. And then finally on our Henry Kirkland Black Farmer Scholarship, Fred and I have been talking about, I think we're going to do a deep dive into this later in the season. So we have a scholarship for basically black farmers who want to farm and $3,000 to help them with their business. So this is a big dump truck of all the things we do. And so I invite everybody to come visit us at the Ag Park for a tour. I was telling Molly that maybe we could coordinate something new this year we're doing is partnering with Pizza Tree. They have a mobile pizza oven. And so we're looking for co-hosts who want to throw a pizza party with us. And so basically that involves like a tour and kind of see what's happening. Yeah, right? Who loves pizza? All right. So pizza, beer, and wine, and kind of a nice evening to see what's happening, to get people there. we have this venue now of the Ag Park. We don't have our final piece yet of our big multi-purpose building, a kitchen, and event hall, but we're making do with a mobile pizza oven in the meantime. So that's our intermediate step. So we will coordinate. Hopefully we can get something on the calendar. But so much appreciate everybody here in the Faith to Action call for this community to support and sponsor a row, and encourage you all individually as well. There's a QR code on the back of this. I'm kind of new to this technology stuff, but these are really easy to use, turns out. Just point your phone at that, and it'll take you to our website. So if you, as your household, would like to sponsor a row as well, please consider doing that. So.
And Adam, how much sponsors a row?
Yeah, so a row works out to be $1,200 for a whole row, $600 for a half row, $300 for a quarter row, and on down to a single square foot for $5. So that's something we've been doing for a long time, and it helps facilitate the produce donation, but it produces the education programming, all of our work. About a quarter of our budget comes from donations from folks like you all. The others come from grants and government contracts with the county and other earned income that we have in our budget. We have about $1 million budget now, which is just kind of mind-blowing to come from a long way. We have 25 people on staff, hundreds of volunteers, and so if you would like to volunteer with us, I know there's some of you already do volunteer. That season is ramping up. So that's in the garden, that's with our programming, lots of opportunities to get involved.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Our ushers will move through the congregation for those who would like to give with cash or check. We also have online giving information in your order of service here and online. You can look there to find out how to give at our website, uucomo.org/give, or for text to give information. And I think now we're going to hear an original from Violet.
This tune was inspired by the quote from Tragic Areas, but even though we can see. So continuing with the seed metaphor, it sounds constant. They try to bury us, they try to sweep us under. They try to silence us, they try to scare us with thunder. But after thunder comes the rain, after rain comes the pain. From the pain, the sea will go taller than the sky, stronger than the gold. 'Cause we are sleeping. We are stronger than fear. Yes, we are still here. And we are stronger than fear. We're stronger. They try to teach us our neighbor is our enemy. They say, swallow this pill, we got the best remedy. But as you swallow, you feel it go down, you feel the room spinning round, and before you know, it's too late, 'cause you could have chosen not to swallow hate. We are still here. We are stronger than fear. Yes, we are still here. Yes, we are stronger than fear. We're stronger. We're stronger. We're stronger. Don't believe everything that you read. Don't
need everything that you need. I'm as strong as you. I'm as strong as you. I'm as strong as you. I'm as strong as
Thank you to everyone who helped make our in-person and online worship happen today. I love being part of an adaptable community that will grow worship even when someone sits a dead computer on top of the soil. So thank you. Our closing words are from the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the stakes are very high, and the path is never clear. Take courage. For deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Take the love of this community with us, go in blessing, and be a blessing to a world that needs your care. And let us sing our benediction. Now I'm leaving